Ask any political scientist, historian, or anyone with a basic understanding of politics and history about the state of democracy in the United States. I'm almost sure they tell you it's dying. Last November, when Americans had the chance to choose between freedom and a spiral into authoritarianism, most chose the latter. Since that moment, I've asked myself how we as a nation took one step forward in 2020 and 47 steps back only 4 years later. And I think many factors played into it. Racism, misogyny, xenophobia, a disconnect between voters and policy, the list goes on. But if you ask me what another main culprit was, I tell you that people simply have no idea what is going on in politics, and that lack of knowledge is actively killing our democracy. After all, when I said the word authoritarianism a few seconds ago, did you know what I was referring to? Would you be able to recognize authoritarianism if it were happening right in front of you? Because it is. If your answer was no to either question, you're not alone. Before we're forced to hold a funeral for our country's autonomy with a tombstone that reads, "Here lies our democracy," it's time to understand what went wrong and how we can set it right. This is Rooted in Politics. Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Rooted in Politics, where we make politics personal and relevant for all. I'm your host, Chris Llewellyn, and I am so glad you're here. Now, I know that intro was very serious, very dramatic, but I just wanted to come on the back end and let y'all know it's not always going to be like this. However, our democracy is under threat, and that is a very, very, very serious conversation. So I wanted to take a serious, dramatic tone, and I had to come out the gate swinging. It's y'all first time hearing me, so why not play into my theater kid past and, be dramatic. But yeah, given that this is the first episode, I know I should probably do a full introduction of who I am. However, I'm choosing to save that for another day. And if you're wondering, another day is Friday, July 11th, so mark your calendars for the next episode. So today's segment is going to be really brief since I just want to do a quick introduction of what Rooted in Politics is. Let's get into it. Now, just a little disclaimer here. I'm going to be a little bit corporate and professional so everyone can have a clear, concise understanding of what Rooted in Politics' purpose is. But do not worry, this is a rare occasion. Rooted in Politics is dedicated to making politics personal and relevant by unpacking the systems and decisions that shape our lives. Our mission is to build a community that thinks critically about social and political issues and takes informed action. Our vision: we envision a society where everyone is equipped with true political literacy to better understand the world and shape our future. Now we're going to get into my favorite part, the values. And some of these are self-explanatory, so I'm just going to read them and move on. But other ones, I do want to elaborate a little bit on why I chose them and why they're important to me. So, value number 1 is accessibility. We make political conversations clear, inclusive, and easy to understand. No jargon, no gatekeeping. Number 2 is authenticity. We speak from the heart and stay honest about what we know and what we don't. Now, this one, I want to explain a little bit. I am by no means an expert in politics. I am a 21-year-old who is not a political science major nor a history major, but I'm extremely passionate about politics. I think I am a little more well-informed than the average person. But more importantly, I see the connect and how politics impacts our daily lives and our communities. So I just want to be upfront about that and say, I don't know everything and I'm learning with y'all. And you'll hear more about that in the second episode. Our third value is boldness. We say what our community needs to hear, we challenge systems, ask the hard questions, and don't hold back. I think that's pretty straightforward. Number 4, and my personal favorite, is community. We create a safe space for shared learning and real connection because no one plays the politics game alone. I don't think I have to say this part, but this is a really hard time for everyone politically and socially. And I think one of the most important things that we can do right now is build community and hold each other accountable and learn together, because that's how we're going to get out of this, is together. Because again, no one plays the politics game alone. Value number 5 is creativity. We use imagination, storytelling, and fresh formats to bring complex ideas to life in engaging, unexpected ways. So, since creativity is one of our core values, you will see creativity from the start of Rooted in Politics launch in 2025. However, this is something that I want to see built out more in 2026, while in 2025 I kind of like focus on building the brand, getting its name out there, and being consistent with the podcast. However, I do desire to eventually expand into like other unconventional ways of storytelling within politics, because I understand that traditional journalism and podcasting won't reach everyone. And I think if the goal is to build political literacy for everyone, then it's important to meet people where they are. And the way that I envision this currently is like, maybe a short film, a documentary. Like the inner theater kid in me would absolutely love to tie like my passion for acting and my passion for politics into one. And I'm sure it can be done. And last but certainly not least, value number 6 is integrity. We are committed to the truth, accuracy, and transparency. We're always rooted in facts and never in noise. I am a journalism major, a proud journalism major. So integrity and honesty are huge for me and will remain at the core of everything that Rooted in Politics does. And though I am a very opinionated person, and I will definitely be sharing my opinion with y'all, I always want to share context and reliable sources when necessary, because we have a lot of opinions and not a lot of facts. And again, that's why we're here in this situation in the first place. All right, that's Rooted in Politics. Told y'all I would keep it brief. But before we wrap up today's episode, I want you guys to walk away with a few takeaways. Now, I know the idea of our democracy dying and our rights being snatched before our eyes is so scary, and I would be lying through my teeth if I said that I wasn't scared too. But it's important to remember that a lack of knowledge and understanding about politics is one of the reasons we're in this situation now, and it can also be one of the ways we get out. Thank you all so much for listening to the very first episode of Rooted in Politics. Now, before I wrap up, I absolutely must give a few people their flowers, because all of these people made Rooted in Politics possible. First is B.L. Harewood, who is an HBCU student and photographer. He so graciously took the photos for my podcast cover and website and did such a great job. Next, I have to thank my friend Arthur Green, who is also an HBCU student and an artist. He helped me build a cohesive brand identity for the podcast, and I'm very particular about these things. So he helped me out picking the font, color, and logo design, because I really wanted it to be perfect. And I think it looks really good. And part of that is because he really helped me realize my visual vision. Another thank you goes out to Emmanuel Coleman, an HBCU student, musical artist, and producer, who provided me with the beat for Rooted in Politics. Also, I should mention his stage name is Mono. He gave me a beat that I feel like truly encapsulates the identity and tone that I want this brand to take on. Like, I literally sent him my keywords and he sent this back, and I was like, this is literally perfect. So big shout outs. Next, I want to acknowledge some people that didn't have a direct hand in the making of Rooted in Politics, but really supported me and held me accountable throughout this process. And those first people are my civil rights sisters, if you know, you know, / some of my closest friends, Talia Price and Taylor Johnson King. When I tell y'all, they've been encouraging me throughout this process and holding me accountable. I've been sitting on this idea for a little over 2 years, and I told them about it ever since I wanted to start this 2 years ago. And they've been keeping me accountable, just asking me like, when is it coming out? Like, where are you at in the process? And, I truly do not think I would have stood on business if it wasn't for them, like, continuing to push me and genuinely wanting to see this out in the world, not only, for the world to experience, but also for me as their friend to get out there and pursue my passion. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Next, I want to acknowledge Nolan Sumo, who is another HBCU student that I met in October of 2024, participating in the Moguls in the Making pitch competition. And after the competition, we had a conversation, I think just about like entrepreneurship. And I told him that I had aspirations to start what became Rooted in Politics, but then it didn't have a name, it didn't have a concept. I had nothing, not even a Google Doc. And I just kind of explained to him what was holding me back, and he really encouraged me and truly lit a spark in me. And that conversation is something that I never forgot. And I tell y'all, when I got back from that competition, I started a Google Doc and started brainstorming and got started. So if it weren't for that conversation, I truly do not think I would be behind this mic today. So I definitely got to give him a shout out. Of course, I have to thank my family. They are my number one supporters, and my entire family has just been so supportive of my collegiate career, of my journalism career. And I know that if nobody else is listening right now, they are. Especially have to give a special, special shout out to my mom and my sister, who I'm so close with, who I've talked with about this. And again, just been supportive since day one. And a double shout out to my sister because she's reimbursing me for this $100 podcast mic. So, yeah, love you, sis. And last but certainly not least, Rooted in Politics was created in honor of my granddad, Lancel Charles Hyman. And though he is no longer here with us in the physical, he served as a huge motivator for my journalism career and my political career and truly saw potential in me before I saw it in myself. So every episode you listen to, just know it's because of him. And again, thank you for listening to the very first episode of Rooted in Politics. I truly cannot thank y'all enough for sticking it out. I know with this being the first episode, there's so much growing, learning, and improving to do, and I truly hope that you are here for that journey. Stay tuned for the episode dropping on Friday to learn more about who I am and the reason I created this podcast and community. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave a rating or review to help others discover the show. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode no matter where you're listening. Stay connected by following us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Rooted in Politics, and on Twitter and YouTube at Root in Politics with no ED. We also have an official website at rootedinpolitics.com if you want to check us out there. Remember, everything we experience is rooted in politics, and every voice has power. Until next time, y'all, stay rooted.